supporting his run and support him as much as we can.
So today Kharshan is running his long distance off trail. So he won't be running on normal pedestrian. Yeah, go inside jungles.
Alright! Alright, good morning. It's 8:30 AM on a beautiful Saturday morning, and I'm not really feeling that beautiful right now because just 2 days ago I sprained my feet, but it's okay. It's a little bit swollen, but I think we can still go for a good run. So today, right now, we have planned a 15 km run. Might go a little bit more depending on the mood. And yeah, the objective of today's run is basically to make sure I learn how to maintain my effort throughout the entire distance. And yeah, it's basically to learn how to listen to my body better while I'm on the run. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the warm-up.
Go, go, go!
So that was the end of the 16 km run, and the stats were around 6 minutes per km, and the elevation gain was around 136 meters, and my average heart rate was 164 beats per minute. So the objective of this run was to make sure I maintain my effort throughout, and I managed to do that for the first 10 km. After that, the last 6 km was kind of wet. It was hilly almost throughout, and I couldn't really control my heart rate and effort as much as I did for the first 10 km. So yeah, that was kind of hard. This is a lesson that I will take away and I'll carry forward for my next long run. And this is something that I encourage all endurance athletes or sportsmen or anybody who is involved in any sport to take note of. And that is to have an objective for every workout that you have. Having an objective for every workout you have will give you a little bit more of a sense of purpose and will actually bring you further. I made the mistake of having a lot of mindless workouts previously, and that really didn't bring me very far. And once I started having more objectives and a plan of what I want to do, yeah, that brought me to a lot more results than I used to. So yeah, that's the end of the 16 km run. Now for the cool down. Bye! So welcome to the second part of the video, and in this part of the video I'm going to be explaining to you guys how I've been budgeting my triathlon training so far. So triathlon is essentially 3 sports in one, and the 3 sports include swimming, cycling and running. So obviously it's going to be pretty expensive, but there's still a way to go around it. And as a student myself, I've been very savvy with how I've been spending money with my training, and yeah, right now I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I've been doing it so far. So the cheapest discipline out of the 3 sports is probably going to be swimming, and the reason why it's swimming is because you don't really need a lot to get started. So far I've spent $6 on a swimming cap, $40 on a good pair of swimming trunks, and another $40 on a good pair of swimming goggles from Speedo. One thing you should take into consideration is the amount of money you're going to spend at the swimming pool of your choice, because you're going to be spending your entrance fee, and the amount of money that you're spending there is going to compound. And yeah, you should take note of that in particular. So the next sport that's going to be slightly more expensive than swimming is going to be running. And the reason why it's running is because that your running shoes will expire. So after every 600 km of use, high chance the midsole is going to wear out, and at that point it's going to increase your risk of getting injured. So for me, I've been using Hoka's for training. This is the Hoka Rincon 2, and this shoe is pretty good for long distance run and is pretty well cushioned as well. And I've also been using the Hoka Mark Force. This shoe is less cushiony as the previous one, but it's more responsive and it's better for faster runs. So yeah, both of my shoes are actually reaching the 600 km mark.
So Hoka, if you wanna sponsor me, wing wing, can just let me know. Other than shoes, what else is going to be expensive is the running apparel. You don't really need expensive running apparel to run fast. All you need is just your legs and your running shoes. Having nice and expensive running apparel that looks good is great, but for me, I honestly started out with my dry fit tees from Army, as well as all the free t-shirts that I got from events. Most of them are dry fit, so just out of comfort. But what I'm trying to say is that you don't really need a lot of money to get started with running. Don't think that you need to get the best athleisure apparels and all that kind of stuff just to get started. But if you were to get good running apparel, then that's great. If I'm not wrong, they feel really good when you run as well. So yeah, up to you. So this is the most expensive sport out of the three, and that's cycling. This bike is the Trek Emonda ALR 4 2018, if I'm not wrong. This bike retails at around $2,000, but I managed to get it at $1,000 used, and I spent $100 on servicing the bike. So before we get started on the budgeting, you should know that I don't really train outside as much for two main reasons. One is that cycling outside is really dangerous. You are exposed to so many cars on the road, and you're such a small vehicle there, and yeah, just the danger and the risk is just really not that worth it. Secondly, training at home allows you to be a bit more effective in improving your fitness. This is because you're more aware of your own body instead of paying attention to what's around you and your surroundings and staying safe all the time. So yeah, that's the reason why I train at home most of the time. And don't get me wrong, I feel that training outside is definitely beneficial. You need to get used to the environment of the wind and the hills and everything, but you can build a good bulk of fitness just from training at home. So how I do my training at home would be with a trainer, and this trainer is around $60 and I got it on used on Carousel. It doesn't tell me how far I've traveled, it doesn't tell me my speed, but all I know is that I can change the difficulty of the resistance accordingly. So that's all I need so far, but I'll definitely be upgrading to a more expensive trainer, probably a smart trainer that can tell me more metrics very soon. One of my single biggest purchases that I had with the triathlon sport in general would be my running watch. And yeah, this running watch is $750. So yeah, took quite a toll on my wallet, but it was a really good investment because I've learned a lot about how I could train effectively, and I learned a lot about how my body works as well, with the metrics like heart rate and how it tracks my sleep and everything like that. So yeah, if you're planning to get a fitness watch, especially in the Garmin range, just know that most of the watches in the Garmin range are kind of the same, just that the difference would be the battery life. So I would recommend to find out how much of battery life you need out of the watch before you choose to purchase the watch. So this next one is a silent killer, and that is nutrition. So the reason why nutrition is a silent killer because it's a consumable, and as an endurance athlete you need to make sure you are on top of your nutrition all the time to aid your recovery, because you'll be doing a lot of training and your training periods are going to be super long, so you need to recover in time for your next workout as well. Personally, I'm not really that good with nutrition, but I do know what is needed to just get started, and that involves two different things. One is a protein drink as well as an electrolyte drink. So for me, I use My Protein Impact Whey just because it's cheap and it has been effective so far. And yeah, I've been using it for probably around 2 years and it hasn't really given me much problems yet. So yeah, that's great. So other than protein, I make sure I have enough Pocari Sweat at home just to make sure my training is always filled up. And yeah, the Pocari Sweat really helps a lot with recovery for after my runs and cycles and swims. So yeah, that's quite important as well. So that's about it for what I spend on triathlon training. As compared to other triathletes I've seen, this is a very budget way of doing it, but it has been pretty sustainable so far. So as the Ironman gets closer, I'll be spending a lot more money, and if you wanna stay tuned for that, be sure to subscribe. Bye bye.